Getting caught is not the same as getting well. Roughly 60 to 75% of couples who experience infidelity, they stay together if they commit to intentional repair work. That's a wild stat. That kind of percentage shows that maybe the thing that happened to you that was the worst thing ever, what if it was a springboard for the best you ever?
Going through what we went through has completely changed our marriage, our relationship, the way we parent. It's completely changed our life for the better.
There's hope for you if you want to do the work. Lights On is sponsored by BetterHelp. It's okay to struggle. Real strength comes from opening up about what you're carrying and doing something about it so you can be at your best for yourself and for the people in your life that you love. Therapy is not just about trauma. It's about learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries in your life that create new freedom. With over 35,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people. And it works too, with an App Store rating of 4.9 based on over 1.7 million client reviews. And it's convenient. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, you can switch therapy and therapists at any time. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a variety of expertise. So talk it out with BetterHelp. So our listeners get 10% off of their first month at BetterHelp.com/lightson. That's BetterHelp.com/lightson.
Hello, welcome to What Lights On.
Yeah, way to hop right in there, Bob.
Well, there's a huge pause in between the clapping and then us supposed to be
You're getting the hang of being a podcaster.
You know.
How does it feel to be a full-time podcaster? People are clamoring for your podcast.
My name isn't on the podcast. It's just Lights On with Laura Lentz.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if that needs to change.
Okay.
Probably should and I'm not getting paid. So.
Well, that's a little bit too personal. I feel like my money is your money. That's for the next episode.
Yeah.
How to divvy up the assets.
Yep.
When your wife gets a bit stingy. That's going to be a banger. We are going to talk today about, welcome to Lights On, by the way. So glad you are here. Hope you've had an awesome week thus far. Hope you had a great July 4th. We did. It was fun.
Yes.
July 4th, we have found when we get older, it's more about how quickly can we get out of a party to go to bed. And I'm not even mad about it in the slightest.
We started walking down to see the fireworks at the river.
And we bailed.
And then we're like,
Shout out to Tulsa. Shout out to Tulsa, by the way, for really holding it down.
Great.
It's a very patriotic, very American place, Tulsa, Oklahoma, which I don't mind.
I love it.
I love it.
Great.
We're going to get into some good stuff today. The work, what it really takes to heal, grow, and rebuild after a breakdown. And this has been asked about a lot, and we're gonna go big picture because we're working on some smaller pictures to really get people information that has worked for us. Because what you find on this journey is that when it comes to marriage breakdown, infidelity, betrayal, and pain, that's not going to be the thing that we focus on at all times. And it's something that really matters to a lot of people. And we have found some things that work for us right now. That's the difference. I think sometimes you hear people talk and they act like they have a way. Right. That is everybody's way. And that's never been our proposition for people. And it's not what I'm telling you today. If you are tuning in right now and you're thinking, I've been through some stuff. What does it look like beyond this stuff? My gosh, we have a lot to say about that. And this is about, if you wanted to say what the work looks like when it comes to building.
Well, I think that even saying that.
The work.
I'm doing my work, or I'm doing he's doing his work. So what does that mean?
It's thrown around all the time.
Yeah.
And I think the assumption is people know what you're talking about. But if you're checking this podcast out right now and you're like, when people say the work, whether they're talking about are they doing the work in therapy? Are they doing the work it's very vague. It can be something that, becomes a blockage for people. So we thought we'd just go right into that and say, this is what the work is for us. This is what we mean. So when you're in therapy circles, people are like, oh, that guy's doing the work. What do they mean? And there's different types of work. And we're going to give you, I think, some really helpful stuff. And here's what you're going to find out for sure. When you start doing this work, you realize you shouldn't have to have a crisis to go through this work.
Yeah.
This is also, you could substitute this whole thing out right now. We're calling the work for healthy living for humanity. And sometimes you find that stuff after a lot of pain and a lot of tragedy, a lot of heartache, similar to somebody they go through a cancer scare and then they start eating healthy. Or they go through something and they start taking care of something better. So whether you've been through infidelity or not, whether you've been through a betrayal or a breakdown or a relational blow up, I think what you're going to find here is some pretty powerful keys to a healthy life. And I will tell you this, if the information we're about to give you, it can absolutely help you save, rebuild a marriage for sure. That's what's possible. And maybe saving a marriage isn't the goal. We always tell people that. And I'm telling you that today, if you're listening to this, let's talk about your life. You might not be able to save your marriage.
Yeah.
You might not be able to save your relationship, but you can live a better life.
And you can do the work for you.
You can be a healthier person.
Which is what you're supposed to do anyway.
So in the future, should there be another marriage, should there be another relationship, you show up a completely different person. So if you are discouraged or you're like, the relationship I'm in has no hope, I never believe that's true. But let's just say it is true. Great. What are you going to do now? You got a choice to get really healthy. So that's what we're going to dig into. And this is good. It's so big that I think we'll probably do some on this episode, do some on another episode, just to make sure people can digest it a little bit. But we call it, our version of this is the 3 pillars of work, how to truly connect as a couple beyond a crisis. There is trauma bonding. There are crisis bonding. There are people who seek out relationships that are in a state of crisis because that's what matters the most to them. We want to get beyond that.
Right.
Being in crisis is one thing, and then being in a connected relationship is another. And it's 3 powerful places we're going to point you to today. It's discovery, it's healing, and it's growth. These are the places we think all the good work has resided for us. And again, this is not just about overcoming infidelity. Pick any label anybody's tried to put on your life because of a crisis or a deficiency, and you can absolutely push through it. And I want you to keep that in mind. Research says this, roughly 60 to 75% of couples who experience infidelity, they stay together if they commit to intentional repair work. That's a wild stat.
Yeah.
And it's a real one. You can go fact check it for yourself. But that kind of percentage shows that maybe the thing that happened to you that was the worst thing ever, what if it was a springboard for the best you ever? We would say that.
Yep.
For
100%.
sure. Would you?
Yes. I mean, going through what we went through has completely changed our marriage, our relationship, the way we parent, the way we view people and their situations. And it's completely changed our life.
Yeah.
For the better.
I told somebody the other day, I said, I wouldn't recommend it.
Heck no.
But my gosh, I would consider using it.
Yeah.
It's one thing to go through it, another thing to sit in it. So let's talk about it. Where do you go for the work? What's it called? When we say the work, we're referring to these 3 places. Very simply, number 1 is the place of discovery. Discovery is a word that is not often attached to this kind of work, and it frickin' should be, because here is what must be said if you're in the place of discovery doing the work. I realize my role in this. Oh, it's hard to find. Oh, it can be hard to accept. But the discovery of my role, what was my role in this breakdown? Why I say it's a discovery is because everybody that I've worked with, even in my own life, when you start doing the work, you discover an opportunity to take ownership that might dictate the entire course of the rest of your life. Not an overstatement, even for a little bit. But what must be said is, I realize my role in this. And what can happen if you do this? Am I excited about this? Yes, because you get the why behind the what. The why is how you got there. The why is why you keep doing what you're doing. The power to change comes into the picture in the discovery zone because you finally get the why. Most people are always consumed with the what. What happened and what do I have to do to not make it happen again? But you never got to the why. So you know this. What do you think this is about?
This is about like mutual ownership and not blame shifting, and then seeing the deeper cracks that led to the cycle or that pattern.
Patterns.
Yeah. and then getting radically honest about who you really are and who you're becoming.
Which is so easy to read.
Right.
My gosh, that part is hard.
That's hard.
Mutual ownership is an interesting one. Not blame shifting is real, because that's what everybody wants to do. I want to discover ways to blame you.
Well, when you're the one that's been in a betrayal situation, that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
And you have every right to.
You can you can live by a story that is definitely tailored right to that. For sure. Here's our insight. Discovery is time sensitive, because it is your only real window to rebuild with a fresh awareness and a fresh truth. You have to go there to go somewhere else. You have to dig
go
down.
Back is what you mean.
You have to go discover. You have to go find out, because if you don't, you will never, ever be aware of the cycle, the pattern, the repetition. You might think you got caught in a moment, but it was never a moment. It was years, probably even longer, of you building a pattern that led you there. And discovery helps you see that for what it is. For me, this was my Onsite moment. For those of you who are not aware, if you're listening and not aware, Onsite is a really specialized therapeutic counseling place that I went to, and that is where my discovery journey led. And it was the place I found out I was not a lost cause.
Yeah.
Because I went in there going, I got to fix the what. So what can I do? What can I change? What can I fix? Mm-hmm. No idea that I was walking into the why, which led me to a very, very scary place of, I don't even know if I want to dig this up. And I got the right help to dig it all up and say, hey, you're not a lost cause at all. There's hope for you if you want to do the work. Everybody kept saying that. I'm like, do you mean more of this painful redigging of who I am when I was a little guy all the way till now? But I had to have a discovery moment. And that is where I realized, wow, I've got work to do on myself.
Well, then that was where you came back, because for people that don't know, it was the first week of when everything happened. And within 3 days you were gone. You went to Onsite.
Yeah.
And you did an intensive. And so I was like, what is happening? Because you don't, you're in shock at the time. You don't know what's happening. You don't know up from down.
Right.
You can't even feed yourself. Like it's such a weird,
ugly,
weird moment. But I just remember you coming back so excited. Maybe a little too excited.
It was tough to read. It was a hard juggle. It was a hard juggle.
Because you came back realizing that you understood yourself. You were like, this is why. Yeah. Oh my God. And you were so pumped about it. And then meanwhile, I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's probably different ways we could do that. But
yeah,
I don't think we would change it at all either, because it also made me feel like, oh, this is a hopeful, this is hope filling for me, because I didn't know what we were going to do. I didn't know if there was hope for us. Yeah. And so when you came back from discovery and finding out some things that you never even knew about yourself.
Yeah.
That was great.
People had vanished completely. Dino Rizzo shows up, helps us, points me there. Bob Goff, talks me through on the phone to get there. Mm-hmm. And that was, I did come back.
Miles.
I didn't know how to present my new discovery about my broken self to my shattered wife and family. So I was trying my best to be like, hey, I know this is terrible, but I got it. I can change these things about myself. And you don't have to believe me. You don't have to trust me. You can even divorce me. I remember telling you this vividly. You can divorce me. If you do, please know that I will get a tent outside of whatever house you go to. And I'm going to show up every day because I figured this out. And I remember feeling this like I was in school again. Like I just started a course on fixing my broken self. Yeah. And I was ready to rock. So that's the difference between going into healing with shame or an empowered spirit, because you're like, I'm on to this. Like, I don't have to repeat this pain. I don't have to repeat these patterns. And I think that's a beautiful, really place to be. It was a game changer for us. Lights On is proud to partner with God Behind Bars. And if there's one organization worthy of your time and investment, I believe it's organizations just like this. Let me read you some stats that will really wake you up to the problem of incarceration in our world, less than 14% of inmates are serving life sentences, and up to as many as 95% of all incarcerated individuals will be released back into society at some point. 27% of those released will return to prison within 3 years. 82% will return to prison within 10 years. God Behind Bars addresses this drastic recidivism problem with a unique approach that focuses on the spiritual, physical, and relational needs of inmates and their families. The mission is very simple. It is to restore lives, rebuild families, and prove that nobody is beyond God's reach, no matter their past or their prison walls. God Behind Bars is changing lives. I saw a clip recently of a father-daughter dance that they did with fathers that are obviously incarcerated. And by the grace of God, they organized this beautiful event. And it made me violently cry because nobody should feel forgotten. Don't care what you've done. And God Behind Bars is changing lives every single day. Proud to partner with them. Check them out today, godbehindbars.com. There is a Pando app that is gaining steam, and they get resources, they get hope, they get mental health help. Through this app, they're reaching a lot of people. So please check them out today. God Behind Bars. What an organization. Lights On is partnering with Planetorg. It's a phenomenal organization that is built to empower women who have faced with all kinds of unexpected circumstances, especially when it comes to pregnancy. And they offer support, they offer tools, they offer community. And if you wanted to know how can I immediately help somebody who really needs it, check out planet.org today. We love them. You will too. And you can make a difference in the life of somebody today just by checking them out. Planet.org. We love y'all.
Do you think this is the moment, like in discovery, when you find out who's actually sorry and wants to change their life, or they're like, oh crap,
Sorry,
I got caught.
Yeah.
How can I hide it or like cover it up, Band-Aid it?
Yeah. Which was a very great question. So I do think this moment exposes the people who are sorry they made bad choices, or people who are simply sorry they got caught. And that was a very frequent criticism we got early from rando trolls that were like, you're not sorry. Yeah. You're just sorry you got caught. If you never got caught, would you ever have changed? And I remember hitting a couple of those people back going, what a dumb thing to say. Why even, who cares?
Right.
Like now you find out. And this is why, because people who are sorry they got caught, this is how they think. From my experience and from working with men on this side of the tracks, I never want to do that again. Mm-hmm. How can I save all that I have? That's somebody who's really sorry they got caught. Somebody who's sorry they've made choices that cause pain and tragedy and wreckage for other people. They think this: I never want to be that person again. Even if it costs me more, I want to figure this out.
And even if you lose your family.
Everything can go. I want to change the person I'm becoming. Mm-hmm. Someone who gets caught and they're so bummed they got caught. They're like, what do I need to do to repair this image? Like, what do I need to do to keep my money, my profile, my friends? Like, I just don't want to look this bad. And I'm sorry I did it.
Don't you think so many people do that?
We'll get there. But the difference is somebody who says, I never want to be that person again.
Right.
I never want to be that action. That's one thing, but I never want to be that person again. I think that's the difference. Because if you got caught, you could change some actions. But if you want to change your life, that takes some work that's much deeper than some behavior modification, which is still going to be really, really needed.
Well, you weren't trying to fix any actions. During this moment, you weren't trying to fix actions. You were trying to fix patterns and mindsets and things that you had dealt with for years. And you had to you just went in with that place of discovery was like you wanted to fix.
Yeah. I wanted to do
the deeper
do the
work
here. And then we were able to get that great question of what am I going to do with this now? To which I told you, let me see if I can fix these things because I want to fix this person. And you were basically faced with a decision to try to see if you could stick it out long enough to see something that would work. And I think that's why we're sitting literally right here. I told somebody the other day that discovery is the dynamite of the destructive system. It has the the power to blow up the whole blockage that got you there in the first place. But without it, you can never really grow like freely ever. Discovery is what goes boom. This is why I look at porn like I look at porn. This is why I use my narcissistic abilities to do A, B, and C. This is why somebody might say discovery. This is why I am so conflict reticent,
Right.
because of, oh my gosh, now you've discovered. So my question when people are going through this is, what are you discovering about yourself? Because that gets a different part of your brain active. If you're not thinking like that, you're just trying to repair, you're trying to fix, you're trying to move forward. It's like, yeah, but what are you learning about yourself through this?
Can you give an example of one thing that you discovered about yourself, like from the abuse that you just had?
I hid a lot.
Yeah.
I hid everything and never, ever knew why. Why would I have compartments of my life that were just completely walled off? Why would I do that? For a long time, I just knew I did, but I didn't know why I did it. And if you trace it back, you do the work, you find out there's a part of you that was broken and it developed a system and it affected you your whole life. So what do you want to do with that information? You either accept it and go, that's just what I do. I hide stuff. I've been hurt. Something happened to me when I was a kid. Now I've got these habits and I am who I am. Deal with it. Hello world, here I am. Or you go, how do I break that blockage? How do I get through that system? How do I develop a new way to live? And that discovery demands a lot of investment. But we have been on that train, on that trip, and I just can't imagine, life without it. So I think my directions for discovery, they sound like this for people: dig deeper than what you keep doing. Dig deeper. Not like some people, I know what I do. I get into a relationship and I yell and then I get possessive and then we break up. Why? Not what. What is the lowest hanging, low IQ fruit of humanity? That's what a lot of Christians do often, is they worry about the what. They're neglecting the who, the what you're becoming. I think that's all the power. I'm still processing it now. That's what's funny. Is that this doesn't just, like you don't just go, oh, I'm good. No, you
go to the next step.
Yeah,
no,
you got to work on it.
Yeah.
You said this demands mutual ownership. There might be the wounded side of the equation who's like, discovery, that's not for me. That's for my husband. He needs to go discover who he is because he doesn't know who he is and he did this. Fair. You have found that through this, you've discovered a lot about yourself.
100%.
You did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
You betrayed no one. You broke no vows. But yet you have mutually owned this discovery thing. Why would you do that? Why would you embark on something where you have every right to sit there and watch me try to change and grow?
Yeah, I think even though, I had no blame in that, I think there are still reasons why I would have put up with some certain behaviors or things over the years. And that's just like, and then I really wanted to understand what you were going through, but I knew in myself, I needed to find myself and I needed to do work for me so I could get healthy to make the right choice of, do I stay with this person? Like, 'cause I didn't know, and I wanted to be healthy enough to make a sound decision. And so when you came back with the, why, I was like, okay, that's going to help me because I can see the things that can change in this situation. But I did it for myself.
Yeah, I think that's a huge part. There's a lot of people who are spectating in the rebuilding.
Well, they're waiting for their husband to change.
You do the work.
Yeah.
Well, marriage doesn't work like that.
Right.
It's never worked like that. And there are times where you have to own something on a side. It's the high road for sure. But even with your little discovery right there of like, okay, what about me can I own? Why did I accept certain things? That's a discovery thing. And then it leads you on your own journey.
Well, and then, so my therapist at the time, they kept harping on codependency. And I was like, I'm not codependent. Like, why do they keep talking about, like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Not understanding what that even meant, what codependency meant at that time. And then they were like, you need to go to CODA, recovery, like AA, not AA meetings, CODA meetings, which is Codependent Anonymous. and all of that. And I'm like, why do I need to? I don't understand. So I had to do a lot of digging into that because I'm like, okay, this keeps coming up. Yeah. What is that? And so that's when I found the book. The book was given to me, Codependent No More. Yeah. By Melody Beattie. And that's the first thing I tell every woman now.
We throw that at people. Read this. You're definitely codependent, most likely.
Yes. And so when I first started reading that, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. I can take responsibility for that now, like these parts of me. And so that book was so freeing.
And you can get a million definitions of codependency.
Oh, yeah. It can be real confusing.
Mine that it's really helpful for me, if you're listening. Well, what do you mean codependent? One could say it is the desire to manage the emotions of another human being, also known as my entire life.
Yeah.
Why? Why am I so conscious of other people's emotions? Why do I think I can control that? Why am I so passionate about trying? That is part of it. And it affects literally everything you do relationally. So everybody has a tendency somewhere. Codependency, normally people have this vision of someone like hanging on to someone else, like I'm dependent on you.
Yeah, like I need my spouse. That's not it.
That's not the correct, frame for what this kind of codependency is. It's when you should call me out on something, but you are worried about the way I might respond. So then that's codependency. Codependency is when you are so worried about your child. You start answering questions they're not asking, and you start forcing them to do things because they might think something. This is codependency at its finest.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal. And this is a key point before we move on, and we are still on the discovery part. So if you're just checking this out right now, if you want to do the work of rebuilding your soul, it starts with a place of discovery. Your church and your pastor can help you discover this by pointing you to people and places that do this. If they claim they can do this, you're around the wrong leader and the wrong church. This might save somebody's life. So I'll say it again, because there's a lot of people that share our faith to a degree. And some people go, I go to my church, I go to my pastor. That's not going to get it done. If you are around a church that is healthy, they will shepherd you. They will help you. They will point you to people who do this for a living. A pastor can help in amazing ways when it comes to rebuilding a marriage, without a doubt. But there are things about the soul. There are things about the clinical expressions of what you have been doing that have to be dealt with people that
psychology
actually get this on an expert level. I had a friend of mine who I was working with, and I said, my brother, you need to go to Onsite. And I told him all about it. And he had a pastor that, he later came to find out was very, very controlling and manipulative and horrible. He's the only word I could use. And his pastor said to him, why would you go there? I've told you all the good stuff to do. You just don't do it. So you're going to go to some therapy place? And I said, my brother, that's not even a red flag. That's a red fireworks show of a pastor that is not doing the work on his own life, B, so low on esteem and security that he really thinks the best move is to hold you closer, even though you're dying. A real pastor, a real church that is healthy will have outlets for you to go get the clinical help that you need to repair your life. So if you have gone through a marriage breakdown, betrayal, and you are expecting your church to be the place that rebuilds your life, let me just burst that little picture right now, because that's not even what they should do. It's not even a healthy expectation of a local church.
And if you know any friends or family that are going through this,
right,
send them this. Give them a little hint, maybe.
Yeah, your church can be a very vital part.
Yeah,
a crucial, even essential part, but it cannot be the only part. That's why you see so many fractured marriages, because people will go through stuff like we went through on a different scale, and they'll try to pray it through. They'll talk to a nice leader in the church, maybe even get to a pastor, and then they still can't figure out why. Because you have to go to a place that can help you discover something. The equivalent would be like taking your car to a chiropractor and going, I got issues with my engine. We live in a modern day church system where that chiropractor in this metaphor would be like, yeah, I got it covered. Come on, bring it on. He's a chiropractor. He doesn't do cars. That's what it's like when you bring infidelity of this kind of magnitude, which is everybody's, to a church place, and you just dump it on the lawn and say, my church wasn't there for us. My pastor wasn't there for us. What do you mean by that? What was your expectation? If you have a healthy pastor, there's going to be prayer, there's going to be support, there's going to be guidance, there's going to be leadership, and there should be a very helpful directional point to where you can go get the exact specific help that you need. So if you're around a pastor who is still so darkly cloaked in the dark ages that they do not advise you to go get clinical special help for stuff like this, got to go to a different church. Go today, leave, because there's hope for you.
Yeah.
A shepherd leads to green pastures, period. And sometimes that means it's going to be a pasture you don't control. And that leads us to point 2. Location number 1. It's the discovery zone. It's the place of finding out. And then the place number 2 of the work, we call it the place of healing. What must be said if you land in this place is, I will take the time to see it through. Got to be said. And what can happen if you do this? Peace and power. That's what real healing can do. Not just back to where you were, but way better. That's the work. So the discovery was the diagnosis. Now what will you do? I found out that I do this because of this, and it leads to that. Now what? Now you heal. And heal is an active word, but here's what it requires. Ready for the drum roll. Why don't people heal through this? Because it takes a pause. You cannot heal and sprint at the same time. Impossible.
Right.
You cannot heal and preach at the same time. You cannot heal and do what you've been doing at the same time. You cannot heal and run an organization at the same time. You cannot go through these things and still expect to function on a particular level as a leader. And that's why people don't heal. Mm-hmm. It's a long game. It is not a quick fix.
Yep.
And this is why so many people forget about the discovery, the place of discovery. That's probably missed anyway. But even the place of healing is robbed of its power because you got people who are trying to sprint and heal. If you don't make the decision to say, this is going to be the long game, you will be back where you are, just way worse.
Yeah.
This is really, really helpful clarity. Getting caught is not the same as getting well. There is a world where oftentimes people get caught doing the wrong thing, and they use it as a way to start over fresh without touching it, without healing. It's almost like, we went through it. What did you do with it? It is leaf cleanup. So let me break this down for you. For those of you that are visual learners, if you're listening in your car, I want you to imagine a tree that has branches that have leaves. Typically what happens in our experience with this, even before this, when we would help couples, pre and post our own drama, dealing with infidelity is like a leaf falling on the ground. Most people just rake the leaves, try to manicure their yard, hope nobody saw it, not realizing that leaf is attached to a branch. That branch is attached to a tree, and that tree is anchored by roots. Unless you get down to the root system of who you are and what you've been doing, you'll be cleaning up leaves the rest of your life. Your neighbors know about them. Your lawn people know about them. Other people know about them. After a while, the leaf cleanup gets really, really old. We were presented with a better option. Do you want to plant new trees? So rather than deal with this old crusty tree that has brought some good fruit for sure, but there is some stuff that just keeps on falling, and I'm tired of cleaning up this yard. May I offer you a different yard, new land? That's the difference between healing and pausing, or trying to heal and sprint. You cannot uproot your system if you're trying to run your system at the same time. My addictions, my brain, my coping patterns, they had to be transformed, not just cleaned up. I talk to some guys and they'll open up a part of their journey and they'll be like, what do I got to do? And I'll say, my brother, you got to do it all over. You got to you got to reboot your whole system. You got to just burn it all down. Because there's no way to put that toothpaste back in this toothpaste thing. Don't even know what that word is.
The tube?
The tube?
Tube.
It's a tube.
Tube.
Yeah, better.
It's
better.
tube.
Here's the real test. The real test of the place of healing. Will you step back if needed? Will you ever really share what happened? Will you walk away from performance in order to pursue healing.
All three of those are too hard for people.
They can be. When you take a step back. And this is why, and people ask me about this daily, this is why people in leadership, especially pastors, cover up what they have going on. Mm-hmm. And I obviously relate. I do not judge.
Right.
I did it myself. And people often ask why. And I say the better question is who. Mm-hmm. Why do pastors do that? No, who are pastors becoming? And sometimes you become a person that tells yourself a story that I got to heal and sprint. And there's a lot of pastors who won't take the time. So they'll get caught and they will image manage. And believe it or not, we could have gone that route. Ours was very public and very terrible, but there was an easy world to spin, to play, to reposition, to relaunch, to come back. Easy, easy, easy. As sad as that is to say, very easy. And we chose a different route, but a lot of pastors do that because they don't know there's another way to do it. I know there was a pastor who we know of he got caught, DMing other women, inviting women to the hotel, the whole 9 yards. Mm-hmm. And his wife caught him, and it was a very stern conversation. And they brought it to the board, and he will never do that again.
Right.
And he's going to get some help. Mm-hmm. Newsflash to that couple, who I'm not going to name, to anybody who is in a situation like that, it's not about the DMs. There is so much going on underneath that surface that if you don't go digging for it, it's a matter of time. And there's a lot of guys who are just
that's
like,
not going at that type of pattern that you're in.
Yeah.
That behavior that you're in is not something that you're going to just stop doing.
Right.
Because
like
you got
when
busted.
Someone gets caught looking at porn, the wife's like, we got to get you covenant eyes on there. We got to get your software. That'll do it. Newsflash. Covenant eyes, great.
It is.
Stuff that you could put on your computer, great. And if somebody wants to get what they want to get,
find it.
There's not enough checks and balances and software protocol available on earth that will stop a man from doing destructive things that he wants to do until you stop the engine. So that pastor who we know, he's just trucking on, preaching, doing his thing. And when I see that happen, I don't have judgment. I have compassion because I know that guy's running on broken legs. And you're so good at it that some people aren't going to notice. But there will come a day where those legs completely stop working, and then you're done.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like that. So I think that's something that's a real part of this. I think healing it's a launch pad for what you faced, and healing takes a lot of time. So here's an area of healing help. And if you are listening and you've done some discovery, you're on the road to healing, here's something that you can bring up in your own life, in your own world, maybe in a relationship that's safe. And you ask yourself, like, what area in my life is in constant pain, constant struggle? That pain is an alarm bell. And for me, I had to realize, you know what, when I really did the discovery, someone asked me, like, do you disappoint yourself all the time? I was like, I do. Do you feel like people are disappointed with you all the time? I'm like, I do. Aren't they? Like, maybe not. And I thought that's a lot of pain right there. So let me go in there. That pain pointed me to the power that I now know, which is to break free from a system in my own brain that I had created. And so that's what I would encourage anybody to do. Like, what's the area that's painful? Something right there underneath there's some power waiting for you to
I think
and
people
discover.
Pull back from that because it is painful, and the consequences for being honest with your pain is too much for people. And I think that's where we've got to try and help people know that, you don't have to hide that, because that hiding is not going to change the situation. But I don't know how do people stop trying to hide from that?
You got to ask yourself the hard question. What's more important? Because when people are like, I talked to a guy the other day and he won't go get help. He's like, I can't right now. Cool. Be honest about what that means. Everything else is more important than this. And I understand there's a lot on the line. And I understand that even for me, there's a world where that could be convenient to say, because a lot of my stuff, I didn't have a lot of choice in how honest I was, even though I did. And you know that. But you're going to have to make a call when you're faced with some of these huge life moments to go, what's the most important thing? If you're honest, what might happen? Let's walk it out. If you're not honest, let's talk about it. Let's walk it out. I guarantee you, if you look at that with real, genuine honesty, you will see that the cost of one of those is far greater. Far greater. For me, I faced that down. I was like, if I really go deep with Laura and I really open this bag up, it's going to be ugly. But I want to heal. So if that means we have to take a lot of years in a different kind of life to get it right, I don't care. I don't want to live with that kind of pain ever again.
Yeah.
And you can only do that if you're shown a better life. And that life is there to be seen for those that want to look at it, want to see it. So let's end this here, and we'll do part 2 next week. We'll talk about the third place, which is my favorite place to talk about. But I'll say this, a reflection question for you as you shut this down. If you are in the discovery place, if you're moved on to the healing place, like, do you want to fix it or do you want to change you? The temptation to fix is so real. Just end this pain. Get out of this spot. Get the girls to stop yelling at me. Let's get to a place where we look good again. That's understandable. It's just not the most resourceful thing to do. Change is scary. It takes a complete disregard for image, because you cannot save your life and save your face at the same time. So maybe that's something you got to think about. If you are ready to get help and you're ready to change, you might want to land that plane right now. Something's got to go. Your image or your marriage. Your image or your healthy you. Your image or the life that maybe God has for you that's going to take a whole lot of honesty to get there. It's worth a consideration.
Yes.
Done for now. Lights on.
Lights off.
Check us out next week. We'll get right back into this about the work. There's hope for you. There's hope for everybody. Give me 5. Lights on.
Lights off.
Lights on. Lights off.
Just turn them off.